everyone. This is Marta from SEGA, and I'm joined today by Justin Dowdeswell. Justin is the general manager at Relic Games in Vancouver, with over 15 years of game dev experience. Justin oversees the Relic teams and studio operations. His vision is to harness Relic's world-class team to build great games and, in partnership with SEGA, to restore Relic's place in the video games industry. Justin has held leadership positions in several Vancouver studios and believes in the untapped potential and the unique proposition that the Relic talent pool and the city represent. Justin, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Marta. It's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too. So in the last decade, has seen an intense change in the way PC games are distributed. Has that changed your approach to the development process?
It's definitely changed how we make games, and I think one of Relic's greatest strengths is how long the studio has been around. But it also has meant that we've needed to adapt and change. Relic can't make games the way we did in 2001, and what I've seen increasingly is a trend towards better understanding of the consumer, of the players, of the fans, and I think that is not news to anybody. We all know that, but knowing it is very different than actually embedding it into how we make games. And so that means we talk to the fans from the beginning. We talk to the players from the start, everything from our content creators, competitive players, the streamers, and really to understand what makes our franchises so attractive to them, what they want to see more of. But it really has affected how the teams interact internally in the studio too.
Mm. And you have worked at Relic for over 7 years now.
It's been 7 years.
7 years, yeah. It has been a while. You've been with the SEGA family for quite a while now.
Yeah.
How has the culture within the studio changed during that time? You must have seen quite a few shifts here and there.
I have. I think I can't say that SEGA hasn't played a big part in that, the improvement. Obviously the culture's gotten better. I think when I joined, the studio had just come through the bankruptcy of the parent company, so there wasn't that same sense of optimism that exists, I think, today. The other part is we've grown, and so you can't avoid a culture changing when a studio grows as much as it has. But I feel that even though we've grown, there's so much more of a push for the teams to work together. And I think my hope, and I believe it's true, is that we feel more like one studio than we ever have before. One of the things I love about the video game industry is working with so many people. And I think feeling like part of one studio as opposed to multiple teams within a building, we're actually part of the one group. That's really gotten a lot better over the last 7 years.
Yeah. No, it's great to have you guys to be part of such a big family as SEGA is, and Relic is known for big PC strategy games, as everyone knows, such as Company of Heroes and Dawn of War. And SEGA is home to many PC strategy game series such as Total War and Endless Space. So how does being a publisher like SEGA help Relic?
I think the fact that SEGA understands that space so well helps in a bunch of ways. First of all, we're not constantly explaining the strategy genre to the publisher because there's so much of an understanding. There's a deep knowledge of what that genre means when it comes to game development budgets or marketing approaches. But it also means that we're able to share a lot between the studios, and even just at the strategic level, from a business standpoint, we can share a lot between studios, and I think it really helps. Certainly, as a studio that's geographically removed from everyone else, makes us feel a little more part of everything that way.
With so many knowledgeable strategy gaming figureheads across SEGA, Relic being a major part of that. How often do you get to exchange that knowledge? Because you mentioned a little bit about that. It would be lovely to hear a little bit more of how that information may get shared.
Yeah, I think the reality is we're all so busy so much of the time putting out our own fires. That it is an incredible challenge anywhere I've ever worked to get people to share knowledge and help each other make better games. But even though it's so difficult, I think Sega's done a great job of making that possible. And it exists in the sense that we sort of make introductions across studios. The leaders in different disciplines do have a chance to talk. But as I said, it's hard to do when everyone has so little time. Mm-hmm. We actually had a SEGA Dev Day session, and that was organized by our friends at Creative Assembly.
Oh, lovely!
It was amazing, and so huge. I think it was hundreds of people. I don't know the exact number. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of people, though, all met in person back in November of 2019 to do exactly that: share ideas, talk about what we've learned. Mm-hmm. Talk about what we're doing across a number of disciplines, and I think that had its own benefits on top of the fact that we all got to meet. These are people whose names you may have seen many times, or heard their voices, or seen their faces over video. But meeting in person is you can't replace it. And I know there's those words probably ring and even more true today than we knew they ever would. But that's a special thing. And I think for a company like Sega to not only understand the value of that, but make the investment to make it happen is just incredible. And I know, I do get to see people from different studios and from Sega more often, I think, than everyone else does. But this was an incredible opportunity for some people who'd never. It was in the UK. It was held in Brighton. It was for some people they'd never been to the UK, and so this was people's first trip, getting to meet colleagues, meet people at different studios. And I think finding out that we all actually have a lot of the same challenges was really encouraging for people.
I just have a few more questions. I have, these can be as quick fire or as long as you like, but sure. What was your first memory of Sega?
I think it's still it's that commercial. So anytime, even now, when I think the word that Sega, I can't do it justice. But that is, I don't know, when one of my earliest memories actually is that, and my siblings and I always imitating that whenever we'd hear it. So it's Sega itself has been part of the cultural backdrop for so long. I think it's hard to know what my very first touch point was, but that lingers, no question.
That is amazing. And yeah, adverts are definitely a big part of our history. And as being part of the Sega family, what's one of your fondest memories? It's okay. I know there's lots of them.
Yeah, there are so many. I would say it's going to involve the people, really, and I think there, as I've said, we've had some successes. We've also made some mistakes, and I think interestingly, one of my fondest memories is around one of those mistakes, and I think that memory is I was meeting with my boss or boss's boss, or possibly my boss's boss's boss. Anyway, very, very senior person within the organization. And, obviously when you make a mistake, it's important to own up to it, but it's not a good feeling. And this senior leader just, he was kind, human, didn't let me off the hook, but, he said, I understand. And it's happened to me. And I think that really, if I was already all in, but if I hadn't been at that point, that would have been the thing that did it, because it was just, I felt so much part of a family in that moment. And it was a time when it was really important, but it helped really cement that feeling. And I'm able now to bring that back to Relic and make sure everyone at Relic knows that is what we're part of. We're part of a family. So that, I know it's a little bit vague, but there was a beautiful moment there. That's my fondest memory.
No, it's vague, but I think the sentiment is very beautiful, and I think everyone will be very appreciative of you sharing that with
withheld names to protect the innocent.
And where do you hope SEGA is in another 60 years?
Yeah. So if you'd asked someone that 60 years ago, I don't think anyone could have predicted
We've
where
been
we
around for a
are.
while, haven't we?
Yeah. And you may have the luxury of thinking about 60 years from now. I think that's a little bit beyond my range at this point. However, the things I've talked about with Sega, I hope those are still true. Sega has such a lasting imprint on the memories of anyone who's played video games. And I hope that remains true. I hope Sega continues to have a long-term view and be able to take advantage of where the market goes. Sega is able to move really quickly because of the way the organization is set up. We have groups doing lots of different things, and so whatever emerges, we will be there, and that's what I hope for Sega, and that obviously some of our beloved brands remain strong.
That's amazing. And finally, last but not least, mentioning some of our strong brands, do you have a favorite SEGA game or
Company of Heroes?
Of course. Absolutely. It's such a fantastic franchise. Not biased at all, I'm sure.
Not at all.
Not at all. It is an amazing franchise. Justin, that is all I have for today. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Martin,
to answer all these questions. Really appreciate it. And if anyone wants to check out some more of these interviews, they'll be available on our 60th SEGA 60th website. So please check it out.
Bye.